Hello gamers and gamettes, welcome to my video essay on the console wars. So, the console wars has been a thing since the early 80s and is still technically going on to this day, but it was the strongest and most violent, let's say, during the 90s, and it all started between two companies, Nintendo and Sega. Nintendo created and sold the NES in 1985, and there were tons of other companies that tried to I'm not even going to continue, they all failed. But in 1988, one company actually didn't create total garbage with a keypad as a controller. I don't know how anyone thought that was a good idea. So in comes Sega. Before their success with the Sega Genesis, they had their Master System, which flopped in almost every country, but was surprisingly popular in Brazil, strangely, and is even still being sold to this day. Somehow. But in 1988, Sega really created something that could rival the NES. It had killer games, it was 16-bit compared to the NES's puny 8-bit, it had two different add-ons to utilize CDs, which were the up-and-coming technology at the time, and even more powerful cartridges that were now 32 whole bits. Wow. Now this just seems like the all-in-one 90s machine. How could anyone rival this monster of... Yeah, Nintendo had an answer. In the great year of 1990, the SNES released, and why wouldn't you get it? I mean, it was Nintendo. Who didn't love Nintendo in 1990? What else was happening in 1990? The reunification of Germany? I can't play Mario Paint on that, it's not even tangible. The SNES was a huge leap in quality and quantity compared to the NES, and perfected the 2D game. It had instant classics such as Super Mario Land, Star Fox, Super Metroid, the Donkey Kong Country series, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and even a couple more mature titles such as Street Fighter 2, Killer Instinct, and Contra. The SNES had a huge collection of RPGs, from The Secret of Mana to Chrono Trigger, and even in-house Nintendo made ones, such as Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, and Earthbound. Now, the Genesis had many more mature titles, such as sports, fighting, and shooting games. They used this to show that the Genesis was for the older kids, and therefore cooler than the SNES. Sega also had the legendary campaign of Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Genesis does
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does. It's free.
does.
What Nintendo?
And if there's one thing that will make any Nintendo fan die a little on the inside, it is that ad campaign. Now, the SNES was more powerful than the Genesis in pretty much every way but one. The Genesis' CPU was clocked higher than the SNES's. So, Sega took this and ran with it, labeling this as blast processing, and saying how the Genesis was leagues better than the SNES in terms of specs. Which just wasn't true, but okay, Sega, keep telling yourself that. After this, Sega focused more on tech specs and made the aforementioned add-ons such as the Sega CD and the 32X. But honestly, this kind of made Genesis look weak compared to the SNES, and it was even something that Nintendo took a jab at in their Donkey Kong Country reveal trailer, saying how it had pre-rendered 3D graphics and it didn't need a 32X or any other add-on. And sure, they made games look better and had more power in them, but to actually, sell gaming systems, you kind of need games. And I mean, come on, Sega, put some actual games on your consoles. When one of your top games of all time is Jeopardy for Sega CD, you have a problem. Now, Nintendo also tried to make a CD add-on for the NES. How did that go? Yeah, that was probably for the best. Never mind. So, the SNES and Sega Genesis, the most intense and crazy console wars ever. And sure, there were other console wars after, but there were also presidents before Benjamin Harrison. Now, the SNES came out on top of the end, selling a total of 49.1 million units, and the Genesis sold a still impressive 30.75 million units. It was a bloodbath between these two companies, all with 90s flair. But looking back, it was something special. It was the most true console war ever, and probably ever will be. But Nintendo made a dum-dum and did this. Good job, Nintendo! Oh, what's going on, guys? Update time. So, I have not made a video in, 20-something days, and I have a good reason for that. End of school. Bam. Best reason. No, I've just been getting absolutely destroyed with work recently because of school, but summer's coming, so, hey, more epic content from your boy. Also, I just haven't been happy with what I've been making, so I just said, you know what? Let's just do something for fun, and I made this little thing for fun, and I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm probably going to do more in the future about more, stuff like this, along with more epic new stuff when when I get more production value, I guess you can call it. So yeah, more great things on its way. I'll see you all in the next one.